Good evening, YouTube viewers. Good evening, Facebook Nation. Good evening to all people, all colors, all races, all languages around the world. Good evening to everyone. And for whatever goal that you have set forth for yourself on this day, as long as that goal benefits all of humanity, may those goals continue to come to fruition. Today we're going to start out because the videos are going to be a little longer, and they're going to start being that because there's a lot of information that really has to get out to you. And hopefully, you have the time to listen in, but also research on what is being said, because there's so much going on in the world. And a lot of my videos are starting out with condolences. So condolences to the people in Kentucky, condolences to the people, throughout the Midwest who have lost lives, lost their livelihoods, their homes. Condolences again to Hawaii. Also condolences to the people in Turkey, where they had a massive storm, just like we had here, not even a week and a half ago. And we can go on and on and on and on and on, because these megastorms are here. They're not going away, and you can't wish it away. They're not going away. They're going to get worse, and there's going to be a lot of loss of a lot around the world. Excuse me, not just here, but also what we have to understand is that there's a judgment that's taking place. And like I say all the time, it does not matter what you read. It does not matter what you believe. You are being judged, and what has been written in biblical texts and different religious texts, they all speak the same thing, and they're happening just like clockwork. 1, 2, and 3. All you have to do is open up the book of Revelation. So since we're living in a time of revelation, I want to bring some clarity to what Babylon actually is. We all know that Babylon is under one world order, and right now we feel that one world order is Rome. However, we have to look at the world itself as being controlled by this one entity. And this is what is taking place. So, when they say, with the clarification that I want to make is that when you say run out, when a person says, hey, get out of Babylon, and they're saying, it's the United States, you have other people in China saying the same thing. You have the same thing in Iran. You have the same thing in Turkey. You have the same thing, in Israel. You have the same thing in Russia. You have people thinking that all this, because it all is under one control, even though these demonic figureheads are fighting and battling against one another. This is all scriptural. This is not something that, just happened and say, oh, wow, why are they here? Why are they here? No. So let's get into what our role is, because like I said, on Morning Motivation for the Average Person, which this is for Morning Motivation, this is for everyone. We have to know what our role is. We have to know how we're being judged, especially good people. And we're talking about only the good people that are on the fence right now. And let's just get into it. So today's topic is condone, and then in parentheses, we'll decide our fates. So today's discussion will deal with 3 topics in one. The first one is the mentality of the world. The second one is the reason why many who think that they have the Most High's favor, in fact, they do not. Many people feel that they got God's favor. They don't. Even though they're good people, never did anything wrong. And we're going to explain this today, that we are held accountable for something, and we're going to learn it. So number 3 is, what can I do to gain favor before the Most High? Because with everything that's happening with the earth, and it's not getting any better, right now we shouldn't even be worried about what's going on around the world. We should be worried more about getting things falling in line so that we can prepare for what's about to take place. So we're going to see what I mean when I make that statement, because a lot of people will say, that's crazy. No, listen in and you'll hear how that's going to make sense. Okay, this topic, excuse me, this topic is for everyone, especially to those who take in Morning Motivation for the Average Person, because you are all good people, as I said before. For this reason, you need to know the truth about the book in which many of us have been taught. Many of us here in Western society, have the Bible. So we're going to learn something from that most people don't know, even though they read the Bible through and through. And not saying everyone. Some, people in Pure Light, they have the key, because they combine everything, a lot of different information, even though they're presenting one thing. I do something similar. I just don't do it through scripture. I do it through psychology to explain it. Like goes again, how people of Pure Light are coming in different directions for specific reasons to reach specific people. And sometimes you can't do that just by, preaching religion. Sometimes you can't do that just by preaching philosophy. Sometimes you can't do that by preaching to science. And sometimes you can't just do that in an educational setting. So what better way to get the word out and bring people into pure light and true consciousness? Send them out in different directions. Hey, Satan did it, and he's doing it now, and this is what we're going to talk about today. So if I say to you first, let me do this. If I say to you, you're going to slip, you're going to fall, you're going to scratch your knees badly. Now, can you respond to me in this way? Could you make that happen on a Friday after work in order to allow a few days for my knee to heal so that I don't miss any time at work? I can be back to work on Monday. And let's try one more, because these things are going to make sense. If I say to you that your car will have a flat tire, can you respond by saying, could you make that happen on Thursday when I pick up my check? The reason I ask this question is to show the mentality of our world. Because for people who are actually living in today, who have this type of mentality, nothing will make sense to them. And the reason is, we think that those people think that they control everything. They think that they understand everything. And they think that they can pick and choose their own destinies at will. And that's not true. The reason we're in a position that we're in is we forgot about the earth. The earth itself has a pulse. The earth itself has a vibration, which we all know. The earth itself is a living entity, a living being, but we don't even see it like that. We just destroy it, we tear it apart, and do whatever we want. And then when the earth acts out, we're like, oh, what are we going to do? Well, we'll send in FEMA. Well, FEMA's not going to help if it's underwater. So, I'm not speaking about, the ones who, their fate has been sealed. These people are going to live, they're going to die, they're going to manipulate, they're going to do whatever that they can to hold on to what they have, because they know there is no afterlife for them. And they know that their souls are as good as gone. So this is the only thing that they've had, because believe me, they had a choice, they made the choice. And so I'm not talking about that. Their fate has been sealed, no matter what they do, because judgment is here, and for those people, they've already been judged. The ones who are being judged right now is the ones like you and I, good people. And the ones who have good hearts. They genuinely want what's best for all people. And they may attend religious services and be good. And this is who I'm talking about. However, how many of you know that what you possess, those good qualities, they're not going to be enough in front of the Most High. They're not going to be enough. And you would say, well, wait a minute, I go to church, or I go to the synagogue, or I go to the mosque, or I go here, and I go there. It doesn't matter. Remember, He judges what's in the heart. The Most High judges what's in your heart. He doesn't care about all this other stuff. And, we can, I'm hoping that, good brother, I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing his name right, Yahawashah, which is how Jesus, I believe Jesus' name is actually supposed to be pronounced. So when you hear me say Yahawashah, that's why I'm talking in terms of that. Because, like I said, I really want to know who it is that I'm talking to when I'm talking. And thank you, good brother, for bringing that name to light. However, how many of you know that what you possess, the good qualities, will not be enough? So let's look at where we can determine what it is that we're going to be held accountable to. Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. And it goes on and reads, it says, and I heard another voice from heaven, saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sin, that ye receive not her plagues. Now, when we hear that, it's like that's where those people that say, you got to get out of America, you got to get out of China, you got to get out of Russia, you got to get out of, whatever country. That's not what this is saying. Because, remember, it's all taken over by one world power. Even though it doesn't seem like it to us, it makes sense to the ones who are really running the show that we don't see. So, now, it should be easy for us to understand that in this text, what is being conveyed here is condone, because we can't run. But we do have the choice to condone whether or not, or what choice that we make, good or bad, or try to stay on the fence and stay neutral. But now we're being judged. And it's basically say, which side are you on? There's no more fence. And this is going to take us all the way back to Noah's time. So you're going to want to stick around for this. So what is being conveyed in the text is condone. Because if you go on to read chapter 5 of, or verse 5 of chapter 18, it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High has remembered her iniquities. Now, I'm asking you this, the viewer, is that the first time that, the Most High has heard this? To say something like this, that, I hear it. I hear what's going on. It's not the first time. And the reason that I had asked this question is because there's a book, and this book is a reference book to the Bible. And it's from the book of Enoch. Yes, the same Enoch from chapter 5 of Genesis that goes on to read where Enoch was with God and God took Enoch. He's the only person outside of Moses and I believe Yahawashah that he took directly into heaven. So, and Moses we don't know, because Moses, he just hid the body. So we don't know. But for Enoch and Yahawashah, we know that they did go. So it goes to say also, he can put us on hold, to for whatever the reward is when we come back. So you're going to want to stick around for this. So in the book of Enoch, so it's the first book of Enoch, chapter 9, verses 1 through 11. If you have a chance, read it. Read this. But I'm going to try to sum it up for you about what it consists of, because it's a short. It's actually 11 verses long, so it's not that long of a read. If you give it a chance, read it. So the summary is basically the angels who were looking down, they were monitoring the earth. They realize they're looking down and they see, enormous bloodshed. They saw, mass lawlessness being brought upon the earth. When they use the word in here, brought, they also use wrought, which means that the earth itself is affected. Remember, the earth is a living being. It doesn't matter if they're not teaching you this, and whether you believe it or not, it's a fact. Even the ancients believed the earth. That's why they called it Mother Earth. If you look at the American Indians, still today they call it Mother Earth, and they do a lot of their worship based on nature. So yes, it is a living being, and we need to treat it like one, but we haven't. And so now you're seeing mamas, another content creator. Now we're seeing mamas cooking in full effect, and people can't stand it. And the sad thing about it is no government can do anything about it. They are not stronger than nature. So now we're figuring out where we start out from the front, the ones who have all the answers, the ones who think they control their own destinies, the one who, their way or no way. Now we're going to find out. You ain't going to be able to do nothing. So, so they see all this stuff and they hear this. Now it's the blood that was spilled into the earth, that basically the souls of the people who were dying, they were, before these angels, and they pleaded, hey, go and tell the Most High about what's going on, that, you got to stop this. So they contemplate between one another, and then they do go to the Most High. And what is the result from that? In the book of Enoch, he says, go to talk to Lamech. Now, in the Bible, it says, go talk to who? Lamech. So this is Noah's, I don't know if it's his father or grandfather, so I'm not sure on that, but I know the gist of it. And what he does is he goes and he instructs the angels go, and they talk to him. He goes and tells them to construct the ark. Now we're at the flood, so let's get a little deeper when we talk about what Condone is, and you're going to find out how it applies to us. So, they go and they do what they can. So now they build the ark, and so we know that only 8 people got on the ark, but let's just say there were 1,000 people on the earth. So if the earth was so bad that it had to be destroyed, out of that 1,000 people, how many were bad? So we say, well, 80%. So we say 800 people, they perished in the flood rightfully, deservingly. Those are the ones who had all the answers and, whatever, and, found out that they didn't have all the answers. But now let's talk about the 200 who remained. These are the people who are on the fence. So out of that 200 people, we'll say 50 of those people were people who were like more or less like a first responder, or just good-hearted people like us, and we're like, hey, we know that this flood is coming. If people survive, they're going to need help. But maybe before the flood takes place, I can continuously talk to a loved one or friends or family and, get them to change their ways that they might be spared. Now, that's 150 people, or that's 50 people out of the 200. So those 50 people are falling into the category of Moses, where they were bought off to, for a later time, because what was in their heart was good, even though they didn't get on that ark. So now let's talk about the 150 who were on here. Well, those were the people who believed in everything that their religion was telling them. They believed in everything that man was telling them. They believed in everything except from, what the Most High and what Yahushua had said, to love, love the Most High with all your heart, and then to love humanity as you will have humanity love unto you. And you've done the best. Your heart now has become pure. Most people don't do that, and the people on the fence have done that. However, it comes a choice that, we're going to get into this choice because I'm going to leave you with a question. But that's the gist of the amount of people that went into the ark, the people that were left over from the ark, and how, Condone came into play in that. That out of 1,000, only 50 were set off to the side. So now you see how that road is narrow. Not everybody's going to make it. So now, the people who are on the fence. So today, this is what I want to leave you with, because I don't want to keep, get deep and have you go deep. Since you understand what we're talking about. We're talking about Condone and how in the ancient. Now we're going to talk about Condone pretty much of what we're being held accountable in the present day, and it's something so simple. But what the question is, it will change your life if you do the right thing, and you will know what you're up against, because it's not easy to do. So now, this is the question. You have a friend, a close friend, or you have a family member, or you're with a Uber driver. It's more easier with the Uber driver. This is why I put the Uber driver in here. So you're a passenger in the car. Now the car goes, you're going to a shopping mall, you're going shopping, and you get out the car. When you get out the car, you know the parking lot, those places are usually busy on the weekend, a lot of cars there. Get out the car, you're going towards the store. But as you get out of the car, you close the door, you walk towards the front of the car, and then the driver gets out of the car, and you hear a loud scratch, like his door, you know the door hit something. So now you go in, you go through the mall, and in your mind you're contemplating, I'm just not going to say anything. There's the fence. I'm just not going to say anything. Now you finish shopping. You both are at the car. The car that was hit, now you see the scratch that car had left. And the driver is telling you, come on, let's go. What do? That's what you're going to be held accountable to. That choice is what you will be held accountable to. And that's for all the people that are out here sitting on that fence thinking that they've done just enough. And they come to realize that when you read these scriptures, we find out that we didn't. Because what it means to say, when it means to get out of Babylon, it means to say it's what you condone. Even though you're in a bad place, you can still say no. And most people don't want to lose everything, for saying no. But then again, how much trust do you have in the Most High that He's going to carry you? So this is what you're being held accountable to. Even though it's a simple question, it's not simple. And for everyone, have a beautiful day. Before I go, I also want to send a special condolence before I go, because there's people in Pakistan who watch. And there's things that I've said, because I had a close friend who's Pakistan, and I was saying this a long time ago about how being used by two powers, which they were used by one on the United States side, one on the Chinese side. However, the country has just filed for they haven't filed officially for bankruptcy, but I know that the president has said that he can't even pay his staff, so they're in need of money. Excuse me. Even though China is building $1 billion, so many billion-dollar port right there in their land. Not only have they built this port in their land, now they're fishing their seas, where now the local people are complaining because they can't even fish, they can't make any money. So now we're seeing, and it's not a funny thing, it's a sad thing, because there is no extended helping hand. There is none on the face of this earth, there is none. But the worst enemy that we face is the ones that are in our own land. Because if you go around the world, the people are treated worse than the people of the land. Okay, now you say, how does that apply here? Everything is good here in the U.S. No, it isn't, because right across the border in Canada, you can get a medication for $30, and over here, that same medication will cost you $180. We can buy a car here, and it's going to cost us, $30, $40, $50,000 just in interest and everything else, that alone, and you can go to another country and get it for far, far less, even though we might be producing these things here. So you see, everyone is paying in their own way, but it's going to take a consensus of what we condone and what we don't condone to allow these things to happen. So there's a line that's being drawn, and mine condolences again for those people in Pakistan, because to have a billion dollar port being bought there, and also I heard that they're also making a military base, which is probably even more billions of dollars, and then not to be able to pay your staff, the people are struggling. I thought when things like this happen, it was supposed to make things better. So now we're understanding what it is that we're up against. This whole entire planet is it's here. This is Babylon, and Babylon is we're being judged. So again, condolences to everyone, but also let me leave, and everyone else, everyone, all people, all races, all colors, all nations around the world, every language, men, women, children. Continue to be the best that you can be, and make the right choices, because we are all in a position now where we're being judged, and what our actions do determine whether or not we make it to heaven, or we live on a paradise earth, or what have you, an afterlife where others are not going to be there. They're just going to be a faint memory, because we're under the war that ends all wars. So, and that's a spiritual war, not a war down here. So with that, everyone, have an awesome evening, and